Let's welcome back to the show from the House Select China Committee. He's Congressman Jesse Johnson. Congressman, it's good to see you again. Congressman, what do you make of this? How serious is this threat? FBI Director Wray warns Chinese cyber hackers are already inside U.S. infrastructure, that they're going to deal a, quote, devastating blow to the power grid, water treatment plants, to, quote, induce panic, that they could do that. What do you think? Is that serious?
Liz, this is a major threat. This is not just fear-mongering. We know that this infiltration has happened. And you're right, it's generally in the infrastructure space. Think water, wastewater, energy, telecommunications. Obviously, what we found, we have been able to root out of those systems. The question would be, of this big initiative of the Chinese Communist Party, Volt Typhoon, how much have we not found? And so the Biden administration, one good thing they have done is in their budget, they've called for an extra $13 billion to invest in cybersecurity. We need this investment. This is where the battle of today and tomorrow will be fought. Our defenses have not been strong enough.
So, you know, yes, spend more money, but the question is, I mean, tens of thousands of Chinese nationals are now crossing the border illegally. You know, we'll get your reaction to that, sir. We want you also to react to FBI Director Wray here. Let's take a listen.
The PRC has made it clear that it considers every sector that makes our society run fair game in its bid to dominate on the world stage, and that its plan is to land low blows against civilian infrastructure to try to induce panic. The fact is, the PRC's targeting of our critical infrastructure is both broad and unrelenting. It's using that mass, those numbers, to give itself the ability to physically wreak havoc on our critical infrastructure at a time of its choosing. But these vital sectors, we're talking about everything from water treatment facilities and energy grids to transportation and information technology, form the backbone of our society.
With the widespread 911 outage in at least 4 states overnight.
People in Nebraska, Texas, South Dakota, and Nevada were unable to call the emergency number from cell phones or landlines. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas starts us off. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. Potentially thousands of Americans with added stress overnight as they dialed 911 for help when every second counts. Multiple police forces across 4 states reporting that their 911 phone lines were down, including the entire state of South Dakota, a county in Nebraska, a police force in Del Rio, Texas, and 2 departments in Nevada, including Las Vegas. In Vegas, residents were urged to dial 911 on a mobile device so the police would be able to see your number and call you back right away. Service was later restored to Las Vegas and South Dakota, but today there will be an urgent effort to figure out why this happened and whether these outages are somehow connected. It's unclear how widespread the situation was. This comes as new analysis from the Department of Homeland Security warns that fiber optics lines supporting 911 call centers have likely become a target. But a similar outage in February appears to have been a technical glitch. Much more to find out, Michael.
Yeah, a lot more to find out on that, Pierre.
Israel and Iran are both downplaying an apparent Israeli airstrike overnight in central Iran. Israeli officials have yet to publicly acknowledge responsibility. Tehran says it launched defense batteries in response to a so-called suspicious object, and that object did not cause any damage. Fox's Trey Yingst reports tonight from Tel Aviv.
Israel taking aim and firing inside Iran, hitting it in retaliation after Iran fired 300 missiles and drones at the Jewish state last Saturday. A U.S. official says Israel struck near a major Iranian air base and nuclear site about 200 miles south of Tehran. Iranian state media says there was no damage to their facilities.
It's sending a message to Iran. Iran knows full well that Israel can strike any place inside of Iran.
Israel's counterattack was a limited missile strike and did not involve manned aircraft. The U.S. was not involved but was notified beforehand.
I know there's a lot of interest in reports from the Middle East overnight, and we understand that. We get that. I'm going to say it now, though I know you all will certainly ask me about it, that we do not have any comment on the reports at this time.
Meanwhile, dozens of activists denouncing Israel's war in Gaza at Columbia University on Friday. On Thursday, police arrested more than 100 people at the campus on suspicion of criminal trespass during a pro-Palestinian demonstration. Students at several other schools are planning similar rallies in solidarity with the Columbia University demonstrators. Here in Tel Aviv, it's life as usual as people prepare for the Passover holiday that starts on Monday. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst.
Here is fully flooded. There is a building have no electricity, no water. Also food not getting for tenant. That's why helping them.
It's one of the most geologically active regions in the world, and it's coming alive again. A volcano in Indonesia, it started to erupt.
The images of this,
I mean,
some people are questioning on Twitter. I saw, is this AI or is this real? That's just the day and age we're in. Is it AI or is it real? But yeah, 5 large eruptions have occurred on Indonesia's Mount Ruang volcano, shooting lava, as you can see, and that's about 70,000 feet in the sky. It's very tall. It's heightened plenty of concerns of spreading ash and falling rocks, forcing hundreds of evacuations. Indonesia even triggered a tsunami alert due to how dangerous the situation could become. This is the same area that got devastated when the same volcano erupted back in 1871.
So it does happen. I mean, it's been a minute, 1871. There are different types of volcanic eruptions, too. And, I mean, no greater country to talk about that than maybe Iceland, because that has been in our purview over the past few months. But the eruption here in Indonesia, it's offered some extraordinary sights. This does, Marissa, it looks like an AI rendering. When you see the frequent flashes of lightning, maybe a painting. During one of the recent explosive eruptions, lightning was observed. Nearly 4,000 strikes, in fact. Those have been counted. It's not a phenomenon, though, that's seen with all eruptions. But it's also not something that's super uncommon either.
Right. I think if you can witness it from afar, it is quite impressive to take in. It's kind of similar to what you'd see in a thunderstorm, but in this case, you have that volcanic ash. You get that friction above, and that can trigger some of that lightning. And in this case, there was no shortage of any of those ingredients, and so that's why it was so frequent.
Findings are preliminary. I mean, the top of mind from Indonesia was getting people safely off the island. Not many people call that island, the Ruang Island, home, but the island is there because of the volcano. And so those people being safely evacuated, but watching how this thing might behave. You had mentioned back in 1871, there are fears that maybe part of it could collapse, and that would lead to a tsunami.
Which is wild. I think a lot of people, I was surprised. I didn't even really think about the fact, watching a volcano, you could in fact have a tsunami concern, and it is a real concern.
If it's something that's over water, if this volcano would be more so over land, I don't know, I think of Mount St. Helens or something like that, you're not talking about a tsunami, but the fact that it's just in Indonesia, so we're watching that pretty carefully in the Pacific.